Bring it on. Want some, get some. Can I get a hell yeah? Yes, I am a pirate. You have to go with the pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're a pirate.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
We will get Omaha. I can promise you that.
And it's purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Yeah. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome into TSO Sunday night. I have been waiting all day long for the show, even this weekend. I'm so excited because we get a chance to do a roundtable. We talked about doing a guest, but Matt vetoed that. He's a great president. He said, no, we're not doing that. It's just going to be the fellas. So we're going to do that. We'll start off with Kyle from the Grange Barber. How are you feeling, dude?
Getting there, I hope. Good evening, everyone, as we sit here late August Sunday, or mid-August, early August. It's August Sunday night here in the middle of fall camp. We got a new intro video coming that Bubba put together for us, Dave, so we'll have that here soon.
Yeah.
But a little updated intro video, but ready to talk some Pirate football, talk about the scrimmage yesterday, and a lot of other topics.
No doubt, and I'm excited to have Matty Ice, Matt Semenza. He is a linebacker with the Logan era in the 90s, and I'll tell you what, those linebackers, I'll put that linebacker room, I'm not saying that because he's on the show and he's a buddy of mine, but that linebacker room, when you look out, we can start rattling off names, I'll put that as the probably one of the best linebacking core in the history of ECU football. And that's saying a lot, but I'll put my reputation on the line for you, Matty.
Well, thanks very much, Dave. I appreciate that. Definitely some good ones in that group, no doubt about it. What's going on, fellas? So much to talk about tonight. I'll tell you, so much to talk about. Just coming off the first scrimmage, updates on the offense, defense, obviously some controversial comments by Mike Houston over the weekend. So I'm just looking forward to catching up with you guys tonight.
No doubt. Hey, Johnny Robertson, JR. I'm not sure. Are you in Greenville or are you in?
No, I'm in Virginia. Obviously, I'll be going down to Greenville this weekend, but I'm up here for now. Hey,
Sarah,
what's up, man?
where in Northern Virginia do you stay when you're up in Northern Virginia?
Okay, so I'm probably like 30 miles west of DC. I'm in the easternmost chain of the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's called Bull Run Mountain.
That's cool.
The closest city, the closest town would be Manassas, I guess.
Okay.
Home of Lorena Bobbitt, right?
Hey, good call, Dave. Hey, it's great to have Stevie back tonight. I'm
Stevie.
What's up?
Hey, Johnny. Northeast Academy, Stevie Flaw.
Yeah.
Johnny, the more shows I go, Kyle will have me living right down the street from you by the time we go there. He gets me he has me coming more north every time he introduces me.
Oh, yeah, we're almost neighbors.
Yeah,
you're in.
I'll be up there with Maddie before long.
Well, Stevie lives so damn far north of North Carolina, it might as well be Virginia. I mean, it literally.
But it's not.
Hit the border.
It's like, and the funny thing about that is, like, Matt, you'll appreciate this. It's like the town is Lasker, right, Stevie? Am I right on that?
Yeah, that's right.
Lasker. But it sounds like some redneck that would like try to pronounce Alaska, the state, is the way I always think of. Lasker.
We actually, when I was in high school, we were playing basketball somewhere, and we stopped to get something to eat after the game was over, and the lady that was taking the order asked us, "Where are you from?" And
Alaska.
We said, "Alaska." And she said, "Y'all come all the way from Alaska to play over here?" I said, "Yeah, we're just that damn good. Everybody wants to fly us over here to play us." So She never asked it. She never thought any different either. So yeah, it's actually a combination of Lassiter and Parker. They were the two families around here. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
Little history lesson.
There's a great, I'll say this and we'll get to football. I promise, guys.
Yeah.
If you're like me and you're a nerd when it comes to the origins of town names and history, Johnny, I think you might appreciate this. It's called it's a book called the North Carolina Gazette. And you open it up and it's got, when we were talking that night and teasing Matt about he couldn't pronounce the names because obviously he's not from here and we gave him a hard time. But the book is called the North Carolina Gazette. If you get a chance, check it out. It's very cool. And that way I could look up Lasker and I would have known that. But I don't know where the book is anymore. Let's talk Pirate football. That's why we're here, guys. I'm really excited about camp. I think this feels like I don't know how you guys feel, but after that win against NC State in the bowl game, this feels like the longest time we haven't had Pirate football. I know it's the same amount of time, but I guess it's because normally in the last few years, we haven't been too excited about Pirate football. But coming off that bowl win, coming off spring football, from spring football to now feels like an eternity. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but before we get started talking, getting ready for the show today, I was like, man, it feels like forever since that we saw Matt jumping up and down in the end zone.
Yeah, to me, not really. It always seems like a long time in between the end of the season and the start of the season. You know, you had the bowl game in late December. It kind of extended things because we celebrated that win so long.
Yeah.
You know, there was celebrations going away into the end of January with the party at Minji's the weekend. It was the very end of January. It was the weekend we had the snow the Wednesday and Thursday right before that Friday. So to me, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, honestly. Plus, I've had so many things go on this year, and then baseball, you know, was so awful until late in the year. It felt like baseball started late, and you know what I mean. So because it was when you really got locked in was postseason time. So to me, honestly, no, it doesn't. It may actually don't seem like as long for me this time, in between last season and this season.
What about you guys? Maybe I'm the only one, but I love Pirate football, and I think we have Matt. I know we have a lot to celebrate and talk about, and maybe things are going to be better than we thought as far as overall. Not that the team has no talent. We've talked about that for the last couple of years, but our concerns on maybe the D-line, hopefully things will be better there when it comes to not talent, but we're talking about depth.
Absolutely. You know, and like the closer we get to this season, I feel more optimistic about this team. You know, I felt really good about what we have offensively going back to the spring. And I think we're in really good shape there. But I've been a little concerned about the defense. But as we get closer, I get a little more confident, you know, with what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. Now, the question is, can you take that and translate what you're seeing in practice and in scrimmages? Can you translate that to Saturdays? That's always the question this time of year. But I think we have a solid team. I think, you know, defensively, I think you have a lot of guys who have something to prove. Maybe not a lot of huge names and like returning stars, but you have guys who have something to prove. And that can be a really dangerous thing when you have guys that are hungry and have something to prove. So I just think, you know, right now you got to keep having a great camp. You know, you got to go one day at a time and just kind of keep getting better and better, put together some good scrimmages, and just make sure you're ready to go for week one.
Stevie and JR, what did you guys, what are your thoughts? So you think it's taking longer, or maybe I'm just being over dramatic? I don't know.
Go ahead, JR.
Well, for me, I agree with Kyle. No, it's like, I feel like, wow, we're like 18 days away from a real football, and it's gone fast for me, you know, so that's a good thing, I guess.
I guess I just don't have a life, Stevie.
I know where you're coming from, Dave. It's kind of like a little kid at Christmas, and you can't get here quick enough. But yeah, you know, it's something that I haven't had as an ECU fan for a while. Is being optimistic about the season. Last year was you know, the second half of the year got a lot of people excited about Pirate football and that bowl win, and now seeing what this team has got this year. And I know Matt's concerned a little bit about the defense, but hearing Matt say he's more optimistic about it makes me feel better about it too. But yeah, I'm just really excited to see what this team could do. I'm like the rest of y'all. I think there's a lot of talent on this team, but you can have a lot of talent on that team, but if you don't put it on on Saturday on that football field, it's no good. What they're showing, it's kind of like preseason football, guys. I mean, I hate to bring the whole Shedeur Sanders thing up where everybody's trying to give him a gold Hall of Fame jacket after one preseason game, but what we see in these scrimmages is good, but what they do on that Saturday, that first Saturday, is going to be the telltale sign.
Yeah, Stevie, you had to bring up the first preseason game where Matt Semenza brought bad luck for me. I don't know what was. I don't even know what to say.
Well, boy, I wasn't even going to mention that one, Dave. I mean, I don't know what was going on with the Commanders that night, but one thing I learned years ago, and I learned this. You guys will laugh, but when Steve Spurrier was the coach of the Redskins at the time, I learned that year never to put any stock in preseason NFL football because if you remember, they were like undefeated. They had Danny Werfel was throwing for 300 yards a game in the preseason, and people were going crazy. And then the season hit, and they couldn't do a thing. So I put zero stock in NFL preseason.
I will say the highlight was not that I have a very short memory on that game from Friday night. What did you guys think? Was it the Jaguars kicker? Kyle, do you know about this?
Yeah, 70-yard field goal.
70-yard field goal. How about them apples? 70-yard field goal, baby.
Go ahead,
Kyle. No, go ahead,
Kyle. It was a cool kick. I mean, I've seen highlights of it. I mean, kick a 70-yard field goal is pretty damn impressive. I mean, you know, if you can do it in preseason, theoretically, that's a transfer with the kicking game into a real game, although pressure situations make things different. But, you know, if you feel you can make a 70, that you feel like you're certainly good to kick beyond 50 anytime, and you probably feel like you can kick beyond 60 a lot. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how the Jaguars, and really who gives a damn about the Jacksonville Jaguars, but it'll be interesting to see how they treat their offense this year. You know, that's a weapon. If he can consistently kick over 60, and I mean, I know that's asking a lot, you know, but that's a weapon.
Wasn't he a backup
in Arkansas?
The kicker. What I mean, I'm saying, wasn't he a backup for the Jaguars? I don't think he's a starter.
He's a young kid. I don't know.
The guys. Go ahead, Johnny.
I think he's battling for the job with the.
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, there's a chance he might not even be the starting kicker for the Jaguars. Somebody will pick him up.
Hey,
if he makes too many more kicks like that, I'm pretty sure he'll get the start job. But more importantly, when you talk about East Carolina's kicking situation and stuff, that's a topic of discussion tonight. But let's get into the scrimmage, guys. Yesterday, Pirate scrimmage inside Dowdy Ficklin Stadium. We'll start off talking about the offense. Offense yesterday, you know, limited sample size. Media was only able to be there for a few minutes, unfortunately, or fortunately, and depending on how you want to look at that, I get it. But from everything I hear, it looks like the passing game was fantastic yesterday, particularly Hauser.
Yeah, well, for me, guys, that's one of the reasons, Matt, that I am excited is when everybody talks about, and it irks me, please remind me we'll talk about it towards the end of the show, additional topics. We're trying to stick to a script and be organized, but remind me of a Mike Houston thing he said that bothered me in his Clemson interview about what went wrong at East Carolina at the end of the show. I don't want to talk about it now. But for me personally, Matt, the reason I'm excited, another thing, guys, to start off with is I'm really happy to have Hauser back because supposedly at the group of 5 level, we're supposed to lose all our players. Anyway, I'm really happy to have Hauser back. I think, we've shown it shows not only at our level of college, but also at the pro level. You don't have a quarterback, you're in trouble, man, as we found out a couple years ago. So, Matt, what about that though with Hauser? I felt like with him, was very good, and having him back with having Hauser and JDB. I'm sorry, the opponents need to worry.
Yeah, and by all accounts, like it sounds like yesterday was a solid scrimmage for the offense and Hauser. And we talked about this a few weeks ago. But here's the thing about like Hauser and JDB specifically. Now you go into year 2, and I can't stress enough how much comfortable you get in a system, going into year 2 versus your first year. And you're really going to start to see that with Hauser in particular when things, your first option is taken away. And now having that level of comfort in the offense, you're able to easily and really without thinking go to your second and third option in the offense. And you're also going to see just him having more command, making more checks, just having more control, getting your offense, into the right spots. So, I'm really excited to see what those guys can do. I don't think, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing we only saw about 75% of what that offense can do in year 1. So I think you're going to see a lot more wrinkles this year.
Yeah, you would think so, Matt. And particularly being we really didn't start seeing that offense humming until the second half of the year. I would think there's a lot more to be shown. You talk about being able to check down, Anthony Smith. You got Yannick Smith. You got the receiver from Oklahoma, whose name escapes me right now.
Petaway,
yes. Who Hauser talked about being a burner and being a weapon in this offense. So that's another receiver, another guy that's been sticking out in practice. According to IGA, Brock Spalding has looked really good from what he saw in the scrimmage yesterday. So there's some definite weapons at receiver. The question I have about our offense is the running game. And we'll segue from that here in a minute and get to. But when you heard positive yesterday about the defense, was that the front seven did a good job stopping the run, which is you don't know if that's good or bad. Does that mean that we are going to be good against the run, or does that mean we're struggling to run the ball? I look at the running backs we have. I like all 3 of them. The question I'll have is maybe the offensive line with the running game.
That was good.
But besides that, a lot of confidence in the passing game. We expect the offense to be really good. JR, what did you take away from the what you heard about the scrimmage on the offensive side of the ball?
JR
might not be at his computer right now. Stevie will ask you the same question.
Oh, hey, I was on mute. Sorry about
that. Go ahead, JR.
Hey, so I have no offensive worries at this point. I mean, we're stacked. We have talent everywhere. I mean, other than I'm talking about the skill positions. So I'm concentrating more on the defense. And I know they say the front seven played well, and so that would imply that the DBs struggled a bit. But I'm looking for big things from these guys, especially Jamali Riddle. I think he was 17 last season for most of the season. And, his first start, he had 2 picks against Temple. He's a very confident young man, and I really feel like we're gonna be very glad that he's in Greenville and he's gonna have some highlight plays this season. And I mean the whole defensive backfield. I see depth. We don't really know what we have in Jonathan Jean and Rashid Reason, but Riddle, Tegan Wilk, is he going to be the same Tegan Wilk he was here? I don't know, but Lowry and
I haven't heard. I'm wondering, is Jordy Lowry at least in practice underperforming? I haven't heard, the coaches, shine about him. I haven't heard them talk him up much. And Jordy Lowry is a guy that was an All-American at the FCS level that, I expected big things out of him. I watched him play last year against NC State, and he looked great. I wonder if he's a gamer or, have you guys noticed that? Where you expect to see his name pop up a lot more in practice reports and you're just not seeing it?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Kyle. And then has anybody heard an update on Demarius Hines? I understand.
All it said was that he was able to put weight on that walk, but hopefully it was nothing serious. But he was. From what you read about it, he was pretty upset when he got hurt. I don't know if that was just frustration from, having to get out of the scrimmage, or it could be something like that. But hopefully it's nothing serious because he was having a really good camp.
Is it his knee, his ankle?
It didn't say. It said suffered an injury. That's all it said.
The upset to me and able to put weight on it implies a knee, because there really is no such thing as a minor knee injury. You're going to miss time if you hurt your knee, and I'm speculating. But, a high ankle sprain, and they can be nagging. So my guess is somewhat is a knee. But maybe it won't require surgery, and he'll just miss a game or so.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case, because we
don't know what we have. I mean, LD, Ladarian Polk, he started 10 games, 8 at Memphis, 2 at Florida International. But, then last year, his senior year, he only had 5 starts at Central Missouri. And I don't really know. I tried to dig something up. I'm not sure if he had an injury issue. But,
he got injured at Florida Atlantic, JR, and I'm guessing that was maybe a situation where it was still nagging in Central Missouri last year. I don't know that for a fact, but I do wonder.
It must have, because they wouldn't have brought him in here if they didn't think he could get the job done. So,
man, I don't know. He came in so late. I think we were just looking for depth pieces. Hopefully he can. He certainly has done it at this level. So hopefully he can live up to early career performance at Memphis.
Yeah, guys.
Certainly we're not in any position to be able to afford to lose guys, in the preseason. And, especially in particular, when you look at that secondary with so many, there's talent, but it's young talent, and there's a lot of unproven talent. And you have guys that are trying to establish their role within the team. And anytime you lose a guy like that, it hurts. And one of the things that jumped out to me about Demarius Hines, just watching some videos, is that he's a pretty physical player. He likes contact, and you need guys out on the field. So I'm not overly optimistic with a few things that I heard today. I'm hoping it's nothing,
What'd you hear, Matt?
Out for the year. I just heard it's maybe a little worse than they had feared. But I don't want to speak out of turn without being there.
Is it his knee?
I believe it is the knee, but not 100% sure. So prayers for him. I hope this is something he's able to get through, quick.
Guys, one of the things I want to mention too, a sidebar really fast, get your thoughts on, as we live in the transfer portal, and picking these guys up. One of the issues I always have with a team is chemistry. How are you guys after the first scrimmage? It's really hard to say, I guess, because you don't get to see very much, but Matt, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on chemistry-wise? It looks like we talk about the offensive side of the ball being stacked, but you and I love the defense, obviously. How is the defense as far as chemistry and working together? Have you been able to tell?
Hard for me to really get a feel for that at this point, but I think you brought in a lot of veteran guys, and I think when you bring in veterans who understand how college football works, I think it's going to help with chemistry a little bit. Those guys are hungry to play. Usually when you hit the portal, there's something behind it, whether it's playing time or you feel like you're not in the right position. So I think you have a lot of veteran guys. Gene from Rice, he comes to mind right away. He's a guy with a lot of experience. I think he's gonna seamlessly fit in to this defense, kind of plug and play. But it's hard to get a read on chemistry until the season starts. We'll find out pretty quick come NC State week 1.
Blake Harrell has talked a lot about that, how in the portal age, he thinks one of the most important things is going to be team chemistry, and it sounds like something he's working on a lot with some off-the-field type activities, making sure guys are socializing with each other, having dinner and not allowing guys to sit with their position groups so they kind of get to know each other.
No cell phones, guys.
No cell phones at dinner, that kind of things where they have to talk to each other. I wish we would have worked the portal a little more, particularly in the secondary prior to spring. A lot of these guys didn't get here till the summer. So I think, from a chemistry standpoint of getting along, it sounds like that's going well. From playing together as a unit, I think because of so many guys getting here during the summer, I think the defense is going to be a work in progress. I think the front seven, a lot of those guys have been around, but I think the back end of that defense, I think there is some talented pieces there. I think it's going to take a while for them to come together as a unit.
What do you got? Well, Stevie, what do you think, and Johnny, about the chemistry and overall of this team?
Well, I'm like, go ahead.
Steve.
No, I was just going to say, piggybacking off what Matt said, it's kind of hard to tell till you get out there on that first game. You know, we're not able to see what's going on in practice or what's going on behind the scenes. So for us, we're going to have to just wait and see. But I mean, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem.
I try to get as much content, as I can. So I look for obscure sources. And Raheem Craig's got a pretty good podcast. I think it's called Camping Out.
Yeah.
And man, according to him and Tegan Wilk and Jamari Riddle, Coach Shank has got these boys fired up. He gave that speech about what it means to play, at East Carolina. And
Sarah, did I see a clip of that on TikTok? Does Raheem Craig play guitar?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. He doesn't really play. He just
that on
strums it.
TikTok.
Yeah. But
they were sitting in the middle of Dowdy Ficklin with Raheem with a guitar. Yeah, so I saw a clip of that.
Yeah, it's a great podcast. But anyhow, you would think that maybe Coach Shank might be out of touch with these young kids, but apparently that's not the case at all. They really love him, and he's got them fired up. And the whole, they're mentioning it. This is a different place. This is what Raheem was saying. It's just different in Greenville. It means more. I know that's a worn out cliche, and I try not to use those, but it's more of a family atmosphere here. The teammates are more tight knit. I just get a great feeling from as far as the chemistry standpoint goes.
And I think too, guys, one of the things that that you hear from casual fans is, what do you think about? I hear this at work and around places when Pirate fans. What do you think about Blake Harrell? This is his first season. And I'm like, well, he already had the season, and you saw what he did. I mean, he could have easily just folded and, looking for another job, but those kids play for him. And until he shows me differently, I'm a huge fan of the guy personally. He's a really good guy. He's very, the one thing I like about Blake Harrell, he's very personable. He's the kind of guy that, like hanging out with, I know he's a tough-nosed football coach, but he also, my point is, he knows how to talk to the fans. He's really comfortable with the fans. It's not like when you're talking to him, like he's looking at his watch or whatever. He's really engaged in what you have to say and talking to him. And I think that he is a Pirate. He knows what our culture is all about. He's already been here. So, yes, technically it'll be a first-year coach, but he's been with the program long enough. That's not an issue at all with me. I mean, these players, when you see those videos, those players will do anything. Matt, have you seen anything like that, being a former player of the Pirates, how they really, really have bought into Blake Harrell?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And I know we're going to get to the Mike Houston comments later, but look, you see the difference in this team from the day Blake Harrell took over. It's undeniable. I mean, just a different energy, enthusiasm. They seem to play. Just a better brand of football, and they play freely. And I think the coaches coach more freely too under him, because he doesn't seem to be like a micromanager. He's going to be a professional and let his coordinators be who they are and call the game. And he talks a lot about that with John David Baker. Like, hey, he's calling the plays. I'm going to let him, get us in the best spots and call the plays that are going to work best for us on that day. So I think he's a great fit. And I do think the players really like playing for him. I think we have a massive, upgrade at head coach. And, look, he's going to get tested right off the bat, fellas. I mean, the first month of the season, let's just say, like, coming off the NC State bowl win, the honeymoon is over now. Like, the season's about to start. It's a new year, at State, you're going to be at Coastal. You're going to have BYU. You're going to have Army. So we're going to know what we have pretty quick.
I agree with you, Matt. I think I hate hearing your first-year head coach because it's stupid. He was the head coach for 6 games last year. That's half of a season. I know one of them was a bowl game, but 6 games as head coach. So it's year 1.2 or year 1.5 or however you want to say it. So he did a great job last year. One thing I would caution Blake, and I don't know if caution is the right word, but don't forget what got you here. Not that he will, but sometimes I think guys are interim head coaches and then they'll get that permanent job and they'll start overthinking things. Well, I got to do things this way. I got to do things that way because that's how I saw things work. You know, being kind of balls out, free willy, just letting it fly last year, going for it on 4th down, being wide open right before the half. That kind of stuff works, and it always works at East Carolina. It's kind of the DNA of who we are. So I would tell Blake to kind of, you know, stick with what got you here. Not that he's going to change it, but I just in the back of my mind, I wonder. Blake's a very likable guy. And, you know, sometimes I hear Blake talking. I don't know if Blake realizes how good Blake can be. He kind of got thrown into this. I don't know that Blake, you know, I don't know how much aspirations to be a head coach he truly had. But I don't know if Blake realizes how good Blake can be. But sometimes I'll hear Blake speaking, and, you know, I think to myself that he could be a really good head coach. He's very honest. And that's one reason I'm a little concerned about our secondary, because I can tell he's very concerned about our secondary. He don't come out and say that in those words, but you could tell. But I love Blake, and looking forward to. I hope he's successful. Very much like Ruffin, where you like a guy, so you hope he's successful. Now, don't get me wrong. If we go 2-10 this year, he can go ahead and hit the road. But I hope to God he's successful. I really do, because I like him a lot. Just from a likability standpoint, from him versus Mike Houston is night and day.
Yeah, if you go back and watch the video of when, you know, they came out on the practice field and announced that he was permanent head coach, and seeing the players' reaction, that ought to tell you right there what they think of Blake, and they would do anything for him. It's just almost like that team was held back under Mike Houston. It was a totally different team after that, and I mean, I think he's going to be all right. And he likes handshakes too.
He does. He does.
He loves a quality handshake.
By the way,
who does?
Matt, I don't mean to offend you, but there's no way in the world we should have lost that.
You can't offend me, Dave. You can't offend me. It's okay.
That Charlotte game. I know you love Charlotte.
Yeah? Can't offend you?
Don't say that to Kyle. Don't say that to Kyle.
Your daughter's a Democrat.
Oh God! Sign it off.
Now I'm offended. Now.
All right. Now wait a minute. I had a point I was making. So I'm at the Charlotte game, right? And I'm like thinking about Matt and Bubba and Kyle and all our friends that are here and obviously virtually, and they listen to our podcast and everything. And I don't know if I told this story on air. If I have, forgive me. But when you're I'm in the press box covering the game, right? But you still are human. And there were times in that game where literally I could have probably been thrown out. I didn't like verbally.
What game are you talking about, Dave? I missed it.
The Charlotte game.
Oh God.
I'm making a point. So I'm there. I took a train ride to Charlotte. I've got my free hotel room. I'm jacked up. I'm going to the game and covering the game. And I get in there. And when things went south, man, I said, you know, I literally had my fist a couple times. And I'm, you know, like the facial expressions, I probably should have been thrown out. I'd never said a word because I know better not to say anything. You can't wear anything East Carolina, anything of a team or Charlotte. You can't wear, you know, like that kind of stuff. So there's rules that I was about to break. But I tell you what, that the most depressing press conference I've ever been into for it's almost 30 years is that Charlotte one. It was the most depressing thing I've ever covered. It was like a funeral. It was that bad.
Oh, he used to know it was over.
And basically, yeah, that was really, really hard. And then I couldn't get an Uber back. Like I have like Uber. I know how to use Uber. I go to cities all the time, and I couldn't I had to walk all the way back to my hotel room, which I probably got all my anger out, but you couldn't get an Uber on campus. Like you could not get an Uber. It was the craziest thing.
The program, look, I'll say it's like the simplest way I know. The program was on life support after the Charlotte game. I mean, this was almost a dead program.
So
at that point. when
Right.
you look at where we were, like to your point, Dave, you're talking about the lowest of the low, right? The absolute lowest of the low. You really can't get any lower as a program as we were that day. And that's what makes it so impressive what these guys collectively did down the stretch. And
that's what I was getting at.
And going back to Blake, it's just to kind of tie this in. Like a few of the things I really like about Blake Harrell, guys. First of all, he is very humble. He never talks in I terms, like I'm the head coach. It's going to be my way. Everything is together. He talks about his coordinators. He talks about delegating. He talks about the team. But collectively, what you saw out of the staff and out of the team from that point on, again, a dead program at that point, coming off a 2-10 season, to make that kind of a turnaround. Now you got to find a way to carry that momentum into this year. So, I mean, absolutely, you're 100% right. That was the lowest of the low.
And to see that, my point was, like you said, to add to your point, Matt, to think about that Charlotte moment. I'm in New York City at Penn Station when I get the text, Houston's gone. I'm getting all these texts. There's things like, and I was like, what in the world? I'm trying to get on my train and I'm about to miss the train because I'm paying attention to my phone. Thankfully, I didn't look at it the whole time. But to think about after the Army game and that Sunday and when Coach Houston was let go to the time that you and Bubba are in the end zone, I'm glad that there was not excessive celebration or something. Bubba trying to hug Harris. Yeah, I'm just laughing. Yeah, it was.
We were on the way back from. We had went to the mountains for the weekend. We were up in Boone, and I left. Third quarter of that Army game. Said screw this, and we went up to Blowing Rock and had some fun. And I remember on the way back Sunday morning, hearing Houston was gone, and I remember seeing Blake the next day in his press conference being introduced and thinking, this will be interesting. Yeah, I had the feeling that Blake wasn't interested in just kind of playing things out. And your first thing you hear is JDB's moving to the sideline, and I was like, hide and watch, see what happens. And we all saw what happened. But since we're kind of on this topic, I think it's a good time to segue, and we'll come back and talk about some other things this season related. But I think it's a natural segue to go into that Mike Houston interview. And I don't know if everybody had a chance to read it or listen to it. But, if you really look at what Mike said, it wasn't anything too controversial. It was just very, very Mike Houston arrogant. Not adjusting to the new landscape of college football when it's hard at schools like East Carolina at that level.
At that level,
well, it's real hard, Mike, when you don't go get a quarterback and you rely on Mason Garcia, who hadn't completed a freaking pass at this level, and that's why you end up going 2-10. And when you run an offense that went out with Moses, that might have had something to do with it. And then last year, again, and then he says they have a chance because of how I left things. Well, didn't give Blake any credit. Didn't say anything like what a job Blake did taking over. I'd like to say that things were in better shape than what people may have realized, and I left things in good shape. But Blake was handed the reins and ran with it, and props to him and the job he's doing, and he's got a great offensive coordinator. He didn't say any of that. It was, they got a chance because of how I left the program. So very arrogant on Mike Houston's part. Mike had his moments here. Thanks to Holton Ahlers. You look at that win out at BYU. You look at the 5 overtime win at Memphis at home. You look at the upset over UCF at home. The bowl win over Coastal with the Birmingham Bowl. So he had his moments, but I thought the interview, while he wasn't over the top, I thought it was very condescending. Yeah. And while not being directly disrespectful to Blake, I thought it was indirectly disrespectful to Blake. I don't know. I doubt Blake cares. I doubt he took it that way. But I wonder how him and Houston's relationship is now. I'd like to know. I don't know that we can get a straight answer from Blake about that. But I thought it was a bit arrogant and condescending, and something else that and I get it and I don't get it. Instead of taking some money from Clemson or somewhere else to offset the money ECU owes him, and I'm sure he's angry at ECU for firing him rather. But he's making us pay him every bit of money we owe him, and doing it as a volunteer position at Clemson. And if he's concerned about schools at this level, why would he want to be taking all the money from him? Granted, we should pay him what we owe him, but he could be taking a salary right now from Clemson, but instead he's doing it as a volunteer position where we're having to pay him his full amount, which I think is a bit classless on his part. But I get it from a standpoint of they fired me, so screw them. But if he cares about the people here and the players here in this place, you would think he would want to help us out a little bit by offsetting that. But whatever, we'll pay him off and we'll be done with him.
Matt and the guys
about him talking about how he left the situation. Isn't it funny how somebody else took the same personnel and turned them into winners when he couldn't? I mean, what does that tell you about one guy's coaching and another guy's coaching?
It felt like
that's the difference.
Yeah, I'll say this, Matt. I want to get your and obviously Stevie and the guys. Your take, and the guys. I want to get y'all's take on the fact that with Mike Houston, it felt like, and including in that Charlotte game, things were so tense and so tight. It's like, okay, I'm Matt Simmons. I'm one of the best linebackers, for the team, but I'm afraid Coach Logan or my, defensive coaches or whatever are going to blast me if I make a mistake. Instead, after when he left, then the whole program felt like things were lighter. They were calmer, hey, look, just go out there and have Blake is the kind of guy, Stevie and Matt, Johnny, Kyle, he's the kind of guy, just go out there and have fun, man. Don't worry about it. Yeah, he knows it's NC State, but at the same time, Houston would have him tight like it's the national championship.
Oh man, there's nothing worse than playing for a guy that coaches tight. It's the absolute worst thing in the world. And I always said while he was here, he coaches tight. But I'll tell you guys, I gotta just give me a few minutes on this one, because I was so infuriated when I read his comments the other day. And three things college coaches talk about all the time. We talk about accountability, right? We talk about no excuses, right? And holding yourself accountable, right? Mike Houston did none of those things in that interview. Quite frankly, I was embarrassed for him. And I'll tell you why. First of all, let me just piggyback on what Kyle said. I left this program in a good spot. No, I'll tell you what you left, Mike. You left the program coming off a 2-10 season, all right, who had a losing record and got blown out at Charlotte. That's what you left, Mike Houston. So don't tell me I left it in a good place, all right? So that's the first thing. Then he wants to talk about, he's making excuses about NIL and the portal, right? I'm going to tell you, now that's a real thing. We know that those are real factors. But look, the NIL and the portal did not cost us a loss to NC State. It didn't cost us a terrible loss against home at Navy. It didn't cost us the Tulsa game. Great coaches don't lose to Charlotte twice at home, in particular when Charlotte has a horrible team and then get blown out on the road. Mike Houston is not a guy, right? All those years, he consistently mismanaged his timeouts. He couldn't manage the game appropriately. He never used his timeouts appropriately going into halftime. You would see him on a regular basis go into halftime with 1 or 2 timeouts and the ball.
But never be aggressive before halftime either.
What I saw was a guy who's not holding himself accountable, and he's making excuses. And look, bottom line is this. Blake Harrell picked up the mess that he left and ran with it. And Mike can make whatever excuses he wants, but he did not leave the program in great shape. So I'll just disagree with everything he said there.
Hey, guys, I was going to add to that, Matt. How about you talk about Charlotte, okay? One of the things, and you had great success here, Matt, so you can talk about this because you not only played those games and you played at a high level and you won those games. Mike Houston had no wins over any team in North Carolina, correct? Or the ACC?
No FBS teams in North Carolina.
Well, I mean, that's what I meant. Yeah, I'm sorry, FBS. And How ironic, guys. I'm glad I thought about this months ago and I haven't mentioned this. How about the fact that Mike Houston couldn't beat an FBS school, right? With that talent that he's talking about or lack thereof. But yet Blake Harrell can win all those games. And then our bowl game is against NC State, who everybody's, there's no way, I'm sure East Carolina is going to win, blah, blah, blah. He beats a FBS school who, oh, by the way, is our rival. And Mike Houston couldn't beat NC State. So I know there's different circumstances. I'm just saying.
We wouldn't have won that game with Mike Houston as head coach. We would not have won that game.
And
first of all, we would have never been there.
Yeah.
We would have never been there.
How predictable was play calling when Houston was there? I mean, you
It's
knew
like-
exactly where things were going. Short yardage plays, he was going to run right up the middle. He was not going to try anything, and you saw the difference when he left with that offense. I mean, we were trying different things. What was the first play we ran on offense? Wasn't it like a flea flicker or something like that they did?
Yeah.
Against Temple, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
that
Steve.
right there.
That's my favorite play.
As soon as I saw that, I said, "Oh yeah, this is going to be a different team here."
Yeah.
Here's an interesting stat for when we're talking about Charlotte. Biff Poggi was 4-16 against FBS teams. I'm sorry, and 50% of his wins came against Mike Houston.
Good God. I could have done without that, JR.
Matt's happy about that. Charlotte's his school, so
Yeah, we got to beat Charlotte this year, and Blake has that circled. You don't want to put too much pressure on it. You don't want to jinx yourself by making it too important. But he has that. He has 2 countdown clocks, one Cincy State, one Charlotte, and he referred to them the other day. He wouldn't even say them by name in an interview with it might have been with Patrick Johnson. He wouldn't even or no, it was with Bailey. He wouldn't even refer to him by name. He said that school and that city we were just in for media days. So I think he's embraced it, and he knows what happened up there last year. So long way for that one. That was actually homecoming, guys. First weekend in November. Be our first Saturday home game. Be our first Saturday game since we do not play a Saturday game in October.
Yep.
As crazy as that might sound, but yeah, that one should be fun. A lot of football to be played before the end, but the reason we're talking about Charlotte is because it ties so much into Mike Houston. JR, did you have anything you wanted to say? Everybody's kind of commented on that Mike Houston interview. Did you have anything that stuck out to you?
Just that I would say a good indicator of the difference between Mike Houston and Blake Harrell is, Dave, you see me at the basketball games. Blake Harrell, he shows up a lot. I mean, I've seen him at every game I've been to almost, and he's always smiling, very approachable. Once the interaction with the fans, I saw Mike Houston one time, and it was when he introduced JDB pregame as the new OC, and he just walked around like, don't even think about coming. Not that even anybody would want to talk to him, but he was very unapproachable with his cowboy boots and his, hard look on his face. And it's just like, dude, you're miserable. My wife tells me that my superpower is judging people's character because I'm right like 99% of the time. And I just knew from the start that I just didn't like Mike Houston. And Blake's the opposite. I knew from the start that he was a good man. So
there's an arrogance there with Mike. I'll tell you, I would love to have him come on the show and kind of take him to task on some of the things he said in that interview, because man, it was weak. It was absolutely weak. And to hear a guy who probably preached to his players for the last 10 years about being accountable and not making excuses, to hear a guy come out and just, make excuses like that, I was just embarrassed for him. And, but look, Johnny, you make a great point. I mean, Blake, very approachable and always gives credit to the fans and loves Greenville. You ever see a coach that loves Greenville more than Blake Harrell? Every interview he talks about it, how much he loves Greenville. So, man, I know I'm going on a rant here, guys, but those comments, like sometimes certain things set me off. And when I read that, especially the I part. I left it in a great place.
Right.
I did this. No, you did not leave it in a good place. You were the guy again who went 2-10 and failed to get a backup quarterback when you had an unproven Mason Garcia. All right.
Ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous.
There you go. Barking. For me, the other thing is when we talk about all the time, but stop if you're the athletic director, anybody at our school, and they listen and watch our show. We've said ad nauseum how much personally we have nothing against the administration or not. Please stop saying schools like East Carolina. That sets me off. And Mike Houston, Bubba pointed out, I know way back when we were when Houston was introduced. Remember, he called us a mid-major.
I got your mid-major between my legs.
Anyway, that's a.
Hey, Dave, put up Matt Redmond's latest comment.
All right,
if you don't mind.
When you have two transfers come back after he's gone, speaks volumes.
That's a good point.
Yeah, Tegan.
Very good point.
Very good point, Matt.
Yeah, Tegan Wilson's one of those.
Hey, by the way, real quick, Mike Houston. I think I said this early on when he was here with us, but I don't know if you guys remember Beavis and Butthead. I swear, if you put a picture of Coach Buzzcut and Mike Houston side by side, Bubba, can you help me on that? Put a picture of Mike Houston and Coach Buzzcut side by side. I swear he was on Beavis and Butthead.
Pick me in the Jimmy.
That's right. Yes, do it again. So anyway, all right, let's talk.
I want to say something about that whole mid-major schools like us, schools at that level thing. And it's something that I texted you guys one night. My message right now, if I'm the head coach at East Carolina, if I'm the AD at East Carolina, if I'm the Pirate Club director at East Carolina, our goal needs to start being the playoffs. And what we need to be doing, because what we're doing, all right, so it's going to be this group of 6 with the Pac-12 coming in. We're competing with one playoff spot with 5 other conferences. And we need to get this shit out of our heads that, we can't make the playoffs, because, yes, we can. Right now, we're going to have about the third or fourth biggest revenue sharing in the American. We need to get that up to 1 or 2. And the message I would be sending is we're chasing Boise State. Boise State is the premier school outside of the so-called Power 5, and that needs to be our goal. We need to catch Boise State. Forget Memphis.
Play them.
Forget Tulane. Forget any. Our goal needs to be to catch Boise State, and that we need to put it out there and make it public that that's what our goal is. We need to quit this pussyfooting bullshit of, oh, golly gee, well, this and that excuse. We have no motivation. We have no balls. We have no cojones. We need to get to the East Carolina of old,
the 90s.
where we used to. The goal used to be, we always do better when we have a goal. The goal used to be to get in the Big East. Our goal now needs to start now, starting this year, building to get to the playoffs. Yep. And you sell that to the fans. Hey, we need more Pirate Club donations to go into revenue sharing, so we can pay players more, so we can try to make the playoff. We do better when we have a goal. And until we get leadership in here, looking at you, John Gilbert, you can do this. You just have to have that approach. But he's going to be retiring pretty soon anyway. The next guy, it needs to be our goal. We need to be chasing Boise State, and our goal needs to be stated publicly, just like in baseball, where we say our goal is to go to Omaha. Our goal needs to be to make the playoffs. Somebody from the group of 5, soon to be group of 6, is going to do it every year. It doesn't have to be Boise. It doesn't have to be Memphis. It doesn't have to be Tulane. It doesn't have to be Liberty. It doesn't have to be Oregon State. It doesn't have to be Washington State. It can be, by God, East Carolina. We did it before there was anything, before there was a BCS, before there was a playoff. We did it back in the mother trucking Peach Bowl era, and we can do it again. But as long as we sit around with our dicks in our hand and scared to say it, we ain't never going to do it. So we need to get up, get motivated as a collective unit, as Pirate Nation, and become what we used to be. That's the badasses, the rebels, the outlaws, the pirates, if you will. That goal is to make the playoff. That's our new goal right now. Big East is, that came and went years ago. We've been sitting around with no goal. We don't even talk about winning conference championships anymore. Our goal needs to be to make the playoff, and it needs to start now.
Yeah,
Damn, I'm ready to play now.
Amen. Amen, Kyle.
Hey, check this out. Pace says it's best. We accept mediocrity. I get with you, B Pace, brother. What's up?
It used not to be like that. I'm like Kyle. It used not to be like that. It's kind of like after the Scotty Montgomery era, we settled for having mediocre seasons because it was so much better than what we went through with that. So I mean, Kyle's got everybody riled. You got them riled up now, Kyle.
I'll never.
Well, I'm trying to get season form, guys. I'm still recovering from surgery and affection after surgery and everything else. So I don't give myself a stroke here.
But here,
practicing for the fifth quarter calls.
Yeah. He's practicing. This is his preseason fifth quarter call.
That was all passion. That wasn't just practice. That's how I feel. And we have accepted mediocrity, and we've accepted mediocrity for too long. And beating NC State in the Military Bowl was fun. But that's not our ceiling. Exactly right. And we need to get that, and the problem is we don't have leadership that believes we can do that. Look, John Gilbert's done some good things and he's done some bad things. John Gilbert's biggest problem is he accepts mediocrity, and he's very feckless. And until we get somebody in here that has that motivation, has that goal, has that drive, that believes we can make the playoffs. Why can't we? Why can't we win the American and challenge for the playoffs?
We can.
Well, if the reason is we need to create more revenue, then by God, say it. Look, right now we're fourth in the American in revenue. We need to get up to 1 and challenge Pirate Nation to give more. Look, your Pirate Club donations now are going to be going into revenue sharing. That whole NIL collective stuff is pretty much done and gone with. So let's get somebody in here. If it can't be Gilbert, I don't know when Gilbert is. Someone take off. I don't know when Gilbert is going to retire officially, but I love Scott Weatherby. I think Weatherby could do those things. But anyway, I don't dislike John. I just challenge John to believe in us. Believe in us wholeheartedly.
Hey.
Damn, the season hasn't even started yet. Kyle's blood pressure's up. I love it.
Hey, Dave, put not the last Bubba comment, but the one before that about Dowdy Ficklin. Put that up there.
Summerall from Tulane and another couple coaches spoke passionately about Dowdy Ficklin and how it was a top of the environment in the country, not just our league. Amen to that.
That's
guys. Yeah, I was just going to say, guys. Kyle, you hit the nail on the head just right there with we had a saying in the Peach Bowl. Oh, by the way, we believe. John, do you believe? Who do you believe? Don't say what we want to hear. What we need is, I know Matt's talked about this before when we have coaching. We don't need a nice guy to be a coach. We don't need a nice guy to be an AD. We need results, and the results are with the scheduling. We need that needs to improve. For sure, and
the schedule's fine. I mean, I think honestly, Gilbert's probably done with scheduling. A lot of when he's going to retire. Somebody posted earlier 28. He said he would not be the AD here in 31. We're not going to make the playoffs this year. We don't have enough talent for that. But if you look at the schedule this year, 11-1, we would be in position to make the playoffs. So I don't necessarily have a problem with the schedule. It's just that Gilbert hasn't done anything exciting with the schedule in terms of home games. The home games that we have that are exciting have already on the schedule, and then that whole Boise State thing where we just let them out of that series instead of telling them, "Hey, look, don't worry, we're going to get our program back up. By the time we play you guys, we will be a competitor again. It's not going to hurt your schedule. Our goal is to be good again." And we drop them, and they schedule app to replace us.
No, Notre Dame. They had Notre Dame. They added Notre Dame, and they did.
Well, they got a home and home with App State now.
Yeah, they do have that too. But I tell you what, right now, and I know that Matt, you were not here yet, but in the '80s, we were independent, and I know why that they had the. That's why I'm like the murder's row scheduling guy.
Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need that.
I know that. I know. I know. But they had this. But the saying was, we're going after the best. That's why they said it, right? That was their marketing thing. But my thing is, we'll play whoever we're going to play. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm just simply saying, for me personally, you were talking to Matt about Mike Houston. What about the accountability as far as we needed to take this football program to the next level, right? And it starts with me because of my donations. It starts with my support of the program. So I'm not doing anything, not as I say, as I do, but I'm just saying, for me, John Gilbert's a great guy. Ryan Robinson, great guys. The people over in Greenville are great people. It's not like they're bad people. It's just simply, let's get the job done. Here's the thing. If we need top tier player, this is one thing I want to ask you guys, if this is a strategy that we should do. Let's say the general manager comes to you, Matt, and you're in the administration, and they say, look, Matt, I know this is going to be a hard sell, but we really need like $2.5-3 million for the football team for revenue, to raise the money. Are you going to just sit there and say, oh, we're a school at this level? We're a mid-major. This is not Tennessee or Alabama, so there's no way in the world we can compete. Or are you going to say, I need to go balls to the wall, have some balls, and go out there and say, look, if you want to compete for an American championship, if you want to compete for that national champion, to be in the playoff, then we need to raise this amount of money. I mean, I don't know how y'all feel, but I just feel like we're sitting back, being careful and safe when we could be really.
Well, okay, so Gilbert made the comment that I think $20.5 million is the cap for revenue sharing, and he said nobody's going to come close to reaching that cap except Memphis in the American. So, Bubba's talking about Boise, but so we haven't heard our number. Let's say it's just for shits and giggles. Let's say it's $12 million. So then let's get it up to $15 million. Our goal needs to be to increase it every year. And, I guess there's certain reasons you don't want to make that number public, but I say make it public. I say make it public and tell Pirate Nation, hey, we need to get it up every year and add to revenue. Revenue, of course, you're going to have your money coming in from the TV. You're going to have money coming in from season tickets. But Pirate Club donations now are going to go directly into revenue sharing. And, you've been asked if you were giving to Team Boneyard for NIL to sign up to give to a fund that's directly going to revenue sharing. I don't know if everybody's done that here. I have. If you haven't done it, you need to do it. Call the Pirate Club, tell them you were a Team Boneyard donor, and you want to start giving to revenue sharing, and you can donate. I'm giving $15 a month. I mean, it's not very much, but it's something. So any amount counts, along with my regular Pirate Club donation. If you can't give a 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, whatever, give what you can. If everybody will do that, and I know, Matt, this is your favorite topic, fundraising, but it is the only way to get to that next level and then spending it properly once we get the money. But anyway, that's enough about that, guys. Dave, let's switch topics.
All right, you want to switch? I want to get your take on with JDB. I know that we had that on our rundown. I'm going back to that now about
the Mike Wright situation. His comments.
I wanted to talk about that because we know Hauser's been doing fantastic. We hear great about Jeter at the third string, that he's finally learning the plays and he's in the system. Been in the system long enough now. He's doing a great job, I guess. Off the field with academics. Not that was ever an issue. Just saying that he's comfortable in his skin when it comes to being a college player. But then, like you said, with Mike Wright, I know we wanted to talk about the quarterback situation. So
so a lot of people, with Mike Wright coming in and his speed, very fast guy, good with his legs. Started some at Vandy, started some at Mississippi State. He's a guy that a lot of people assume that there would be packages for him, that we wouldn't have a true two quarterback system, but there would be, quote unquote, maybe wildcat packages for Mike. And John David Baker, said this week he is not a two quarterback guy. He feels like it disrupts the game. It hurts rhythm. And he said, you will not see a 2-quarterback system with him here. So I don't know if he's just meaning literally a 2-quarterback system, or if we're really not going to have packages to utilize Mike Wright at the quarterback position. Now, he was returning punts yesterday in that scrimmage. I find it hard to believe that we won't use Mike Wright at quarterback. I find it hard to believe. I think that is probably JDB using a little smoke and mirrors. Hey, don't worry about it. You don't need to prepare for it. NC State would be my guess. Do I believe it's going to be a 2-quarterback system, as in we're going to rotate them? No, but I do think there will be some packages for for Mike Wright. If not, and he's just going to be the backup quarterback, then you better use him at punt returner. You better use him at wide receiver, running back. You better find ways to get him on the field, because to have that kid's speed and not utilize it would be insane. But I find it hard to believe that we won't see him in some Wildcat type packages. Hey, Matt, what do you think? Do you believe that from JDB, or do you think it's a little bit of smoke and mirrors?
Yeah, I mean, I believe him when he says, that he doesn't believe in a 2-quarterback system, and I totally agree with that, because I hate a 2-quarterback system. But that doesn't mean you can't have specific plays and specific packages to get your best talent on the field. And there's so many things you can do with Mike Wright. Listen, with that type of speed, you can line him up in the slot. You can you can use jet sweep action with him to get him the ball. You can put him and Caton Hauser on the field at the same time in some creative packages as well. You think about, I mentioned the other day the opening play versus South Carolina when we ran end around with Tyler Snead.
Yeah.
For the touchdown. I mean, you put Mike Wright in the slot, you bring him around on like jet sweep motion, and he throws it down the field. I see a lot of different packages for him, with him, like in particular, like I said, in the slot. So, again, not a 2-quarterback system per se, but you got to get your best talent on the field. And there's just so many ways. And I think JDB is a creative enough play caller where he's going to figure that out. Now, you also saw, in addition to that, you saw versus NC State more of a willingness to run the ball from the quarterback position. You saw Hauser very effective in some option style plays. And I think those are areas where you can use Mike Wright as well, whether it's red zone type thing or, short yardage type situations. So they're going to get him on the field. I agree. I mean, there's no way you keep that kind of talent on the sideline.
Yeah, when you have a guy that Mike Wright, who actually, who was it that said about scored a touch? Oh, Robert Dedrick said Mike Wright burned Bama for a TD.
Yeah.
Top level talent like Alabama at that level. Just kidding. But yeah, he's a guy that, when you're talking about a pro team, Stevie is a Steelers guy. I'm a Redskins guy. So for me personally, if I'm a draft of a first rounder, I'm not going for my need as much as I'm looking for the best talented guy that I can get, because you're paying them a lot of money. Well, in this particular days of the transfer portal, I'm looking for the best possible guys. And Johnny, I know you've talked to the assistant coaches, and we talked about that last week, but I'm telling you guys, we're going to have speed, and more speed.
In regard to Mike Wright,
yeah, go ahead.
There's just no way. In my mind, there's just no way that he agreed to burn his last year of eligibility here without being told that he'd be involved to some degree in the offense. And I think he fits best in the red zone. He's a nightmare for defenses in the red zone. Not even from the slot. I'm talking about maybe Wildcat. Maybe I love what Matt said about him and Caton on the field at the same time. That would be chaos. And I know we're going to see him, and I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, that's exactly why, like with JDB, when y'all were talking about the creativity, and you got a kid like Mike Wright, JDB, the offensive coaches dream about guys. That sounds over dramatic again, but dream about guys like Mike Wright, because you can't coach speed. And those guys, I'm telling you, with the wide receiver room that we have right now, you could even, I know that Ethan put up there, you could put him at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. And for me, hey, you can put him out there, as a wide receiver. And that way you don't know. What's great about that is if you're a defense and your defensive coaches, you have no idea, is he going to throw, is he going to pass the ball, is he going to catch the ball? You keep the defense honest when you put Mike Wright on the field.
Stevie, what do you? I was going to Stevie from a coaching standpoint. You hear those comments from JDB. Does it almost sound too much like smoke and mirrors? Do you believe it, or do you just go, yeah, bullshit?
There's no way you're going to keep a guy like you guys said. I'm just echoing that. There's no way you're going to keep a guy with that kind of talent off the field. And I'm aging myself, and I'm probably showing my Pittsburgh Steelers bias. But remember Cordell Stewart when he first came on the scene in Pittsburgh?
Yes, sir.
How they used him that first year. I mean, they had him lining up in the slot.
Yep.
They had him in a 5 wide receiver package. And, I honestly thought he was most effective that way. He turned out to be a decent quarterback in the pros, but when he was in that slash role, he was more dangerous than he ever was in the NFL. And this could be what they're thinking here. But Kyle, I'm like this with what he's saying. There's no way that guy's sitting the sideline. And I'll say it like Dave said it. Or Johnny. I think Johnny said it. He's not going to give up his last year eligibility unless he's been told that he's going to have a prominent role in this offense.
Yeah, if anything, he could have dropped down to FCS and been a starting quarterback easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just think like simple, like doesn't even have to be like overly it's like stylistic plays. I mean, just simple things like you put him and Hauser in the backfield together, you motion Hauser out to the slot, and then you direct snap to Mike Wright. I mean,
that's what I was just thinking about that a few minutes ago, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, just so many things you can do, and like the thing is, I'll say this, and I don't think Hauser gets enough credit, guys, for his athletic ability. He showed times last year where he can really run. He is a kind of an underrated runner from the quarterback position, but at the same time, you don't want him taking too many hits. So, I like the idea of going to some direct snap type packages, and you can really screw up a defense that way. And the more you put on film, the more you get defenses to prepare for during the week. And so sky's the limit.
Hey, Matt, I want to ask you guys about that very thing and Stevie and Kyle and Johnny. I can definitely see some goal line packages. Can't you guys? I mean, like certain situations where that's what I was feeling like. You're talking about Wildcat. We talked about that. You talked about, having Hauser move out as a wide receiver. I mean, that's what's beautiful about this whole situation this year is we went from like we were right about Mason Garcia, like we were nervous about we really don't have 2 years ago. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have a quarterback with experience. And we've gone from that to now we were a pauper and now we're a prince because we have JDB and you have JDB happy on the sideline and you have JDB who can open up the playbook. That we were talking about Mike Houston, not to beat a dead horse, but Mike Houston wouldn't let JDB be JDB. Just like Stevie, when you were talking about Cordell Stewart was not allowed there a lot of years to be Cordell Stewart. They were trying to make him what he was not. And that's one thing as a coach, you need to say, okay, these are the cards I have. This is what I'm dealing with. And, I've got these great players that can do this versus I'm going to run my damn system like the previous coach we had here, come hell or high water, and it cost him his job. So you look at how Blake Harrell's done, and I'm excited. I'm very, very, very excited about this season, guys. I really am. And, BYU coming to town, I know that's a tough out. The Coastal Carolina game, tough out.
Speaking of Coastal Carolina, one of the things in the show notes, guys, if you haven't got your tickets for the Coastal Carolina game through ECU, you cannot. We have sold our ticket allotment, but there's still plenty of tickets available through Coastal Carolina. That's where I got my tickets. I didn't go through ECU. So good thing we sold our ticket allotment. I know there's been people like me and others who have already got their tickets through Coastal. If you haven't got your tickets yet, go ahead and get them through Coastal. That stadium holds around 20,000. I legitimately think we can have half of it full with Pirates. I think we can make it a bowl type environment. So
Right.
I would encourage everybody. Matt, are you flying down to that one? I know you flying in and out of Myrtle sometimes with your dad living down in Wilmington. Are you thinking of?
I'm definitely going to one of those. I'm thinking I'm going to go to the BYU game.
Yes. Make it a week. Go to both.
I might be able to. I'm going to the South Carolina Vandy game to see my daughter the week before, so I got but I'm definitely going to go to one of those. I'd like to go to definitely BYU, man. That's going to be
South Carolina
awesome.
Vandy the same week as the Coastal game.
Might be. I think it's like is it the 13th? Do I have that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe you get a 12 o'clock kickoff for that, and the Coastal game 7:30. You can shoot down from Columbia to Myrtle.
That is not a bad idea, my friend. That is not a bad idea.
Jet flying, limousine ride.
Say no more. Say no more.
Uber.
You may have that. Do you have that kick time yet? That if it ain't been announced, it should be soon. In fact, I would think it has been. What time is the kick for Vandy, South Carolina?
I'll look it up right now.
Yeah. Good question. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, that's a 2-hour drive, I think, from Columbia to Myrtle.
That sounds right. Yeah.
I'd much rather see ECU, but you got to keep your daughter happy. But look, I would get there. I mean, how far is Myrtle from like Charleston?
From Charleston or from Columbia?
From Charleston in particular.
I would say hour and a half north.
Hour and a half. Okay.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Stay in Charleston, but
I don't see a time. Do you see anything, Dave?
Let's see.
I mean, the first 3 weeks, I think all the times have been announced. I thought.
What I saw was TBA.
Yeah, 2 to be determined is what I'm showing. So.
All right. Well, let's hope we get a 12 o'clock kick for Vandy and South Carolina, and Stevie can make both those games.
And Coastal is 7:30.
Or Stevie, Jesus, Matt.
Cornbread.
Yeah,
Coastal 7:30. Yeah, we know that pays. So I love that. We're going to hit up to Myrtle on that Friday. Enjoy Myrtle Friday evening. Do some things in Myrtle on Saturday. It's a good road trip to make. Because you can. If you're like me, if you lose the game, it ruins everything. But that game with a 7:30 kickoff, you can do everything you want to do and then go to the game, and it's not going to ruin your trip if you lose. In terms of doing other things.
We're winning, baby.
And then if you win the damn thing, if you beat Coastal, then you can go out and celebrate in Myrtle downtown at night and try not to get shot.
And you can sing Alabama, right?
Sing Alabama? Oh, well, yeah. That was the conflict. Alabama at Roanoke Rapids at Carolina Crossroads. I was thinking about going to see that, but I went with the East Carolina, Coastal Carolina game instead.
Bubba says he has elite track speed. He ran track at, I assume he's talking about Mike Wright at Mississippi State. Imagine him, Anthony Smith, Yannick Smith, and Petaway all on the field. Amen, brother. I thought about it.
There are people that say he was the fastest football player at Mississippi State when he was there. Think about that.
Yeah, I don't like. Go ahead, Matt.
Go ahead.
I was just going to simply say what you guys said. There's no way that I think John David Baker will say that, but John David Baker knows that he's going to say, "Oh yeah, we're just going to have one quarterback," and then trick plays. Look, one of the reasons I love Coach Logan, he said it because he didn't feel like he had. Maybe there was times he didn't have the talent or whatever, so he would do trick plays, but. I want to be balls to the wall. This is NC State. Our fan base. We have the talent to pull these trick plays off, and I want to do everything we can. They think it's our quote unquote bowl game. Look, I had this. I told you this guy. I don't know, Matt, if you saw this or not, but there was a guy that was talking about how it's going to rule. What was it? It was going to help me, Bubba. It was going to ruin his season or whatever. Talking about we got to beat NC State. And I said, listen, if we lose to NC State and we win 11 games and you can win a conference championship and a playoff, I mean, as much as I want to beat NC State, I'm not making excuses. But I'm taking that 11-1 for the regular season. I'm taking that. We win the conference championship and we're in the playoff. I'll take that any day.
NC State's an important game. It's a big game. It's a rivalry game. But we're 11.5-point underdogs for a reason. I think the line's too big. I think it'll come down to 8 by game time. But in all likelihood, if you ask me to predict that game all openly and honestly, I think we're probably going to lose it because I don't I fear their passing game against our secondary. But
Dave.
I there's a lot of football to be played. That NC State game does not make or break our season. Go ahead, JR.
I'm sorry. Hey, I wanted to follow up on JDB.
Okay.
Am I the only one that gets fired up? Talk about balls to the wall. And the only guy that gets me fired up as much as Kyle is JDB when he posts on X, and he always puts the hashtag burn the boats. He's got bad intentions for our opponents, and I love it.
I do too. I mean, we're damn pirates. You know, that's my thing I was going to say earlier about people believing in us. We have the perfect mascot. We have the best fans. A damn Blackbeard. You know, we have the history of why we are called the Pirates. Eastern North Carolina. Matt can tell you about how he had a chip on his shoulder because that's why they won a million games against the big ACC schools and now the Power 2, 4, whatever the hell they want to say.
Power 4.
I know Power, and then now some of them are saying Power 2 because of it'll eventually just be the Power 1 with SEC. But anyway, I'll tell you one thing right now. If you want to be a part of our fan base, be a part of our culture, then you need to have a damn chip on your shoulder and say, we're going to beat their asses and we're going to go in there to Raleigh. And I'm sorry, but I think the 11.5 is way too high. It's funny because every time State has a big season, this is Dave Doran, and they're going to win an ACC championship. And then they're going to take the next step after that. They're going to be in the playoff. They say it all the time, and it never happens. There are State fans right now rooting for East Carolina so they can get rid of Dave Doran. I'm telling you, right? If y'all think I'm crazy, read some of the stuff that's put on social media. And hey, we may lose the game, but going in there, I don't fear NC State. I don't fear them at all.
Oh, absolutely not.
Nope.
And, they lost a lot in the secondary too.
And the portal, they lost a ton, right?
He hit the portal. Yeah. I mean, I think it was their best corner. I can't remember his name. He wore number 15. He hit the portal. So they're breaking in some new players too. And
is that the quarterback?
The corner. He was a corner, number 15, I think is his name. But here's the thing, guys. You look at the weapons we have at the skill positions. Let's just start with wide receiver. I think the way you approach this, and then Pace makes a good point. New OC and DC, so that's a lot of moving parts there for them as well. And that quarterback is still a little unproven too. He's got a lot of potential, but he's still a little unproven. But I think with this team, when you look at the receivers we have, I want to run the ball. I want to establish the run based off of what we do in the passing game. So in other words, use the full length of the field. Let's stretch people vertically. Let's stretch people horizontally with the wide receiver screens. And then you come back and you crease them in the running game, and really establish things in the running game. So I think you're going to see a wide open offense. I really do. I think you're going to see a ton of vertical passing game with Anthony Smith. I think when it's all said and done this year, he's going to have probably 9 or 10 touchdowns. He loves to run that it's almost like a skinny post, deep shot down the field off play action. But just to go back to that bowl game for a second, what we showed, one of the new wrinkles he showed in that game was the wide receiver screen with Yannick Smith, big physical receiver who you can flip it out to on the perimeter and get 4, 5, 6 yards whenever you want, pretty much. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, man. I am convinced that we are gonna, have several games in the 35 to 45 point range this year.
Yeah, and you mentioned 2 things there that I want to touch on, Matt. One, the screen game. Blake made the comment recently that the screen game will be part of our running game this year. He looks at it as part of our running game. So that means we will see a lot of screens probably this year. And the other thing, you mentioned Anthony Smith by name and the amount of touchdowns you think he's going to have. Anthony Smith named this week to the Bolitnikoff Award watch list. So that's just a note on him that other people are expecting him to have a big year also. So he's on the Bolitnikoff Award watch list. And all 3 of our running backs that we expect to be in the rotation, Gunn, Montgomery, and then help me out, guys, the kid from Houston.
not Benton. Jeez.
You're right. That kid.
Parker? Or
Yeah, no.
Jenkins, right?
Yes.
Jenkins, yes.
Yeah, all three of those are on the Jesus Christ, the best running back.
The
What's that
Doak
award?
Doak
Walker Award.
Doak
Thank
Walker
you.
Award
Yeah,
list.
thank you. All three of those kids are on the Doak Walker Award watch list.
Here's an interesting fact. There's only 4 teams that have 3 players on that list. You would expect USC and Notre Dame, and of course the Pirates. The 4th team is a shocker, to me. Okay, so on October 18th, we're going to have USC at Notre Dame. They're going to have 6 Doak Walker Award list finalists, or not finalists, but players on the field. And then November 1st, ECU at Temple, 6 Doak Walker.
Wow.
Yeah, Temple has 3 listed as well. That was I didn't have any idea that they had.
Probably hit the portal hard. They got a great head coach from Sam Houston State. I've read some stuff about them and Phil Steele, so I think they did do a good job in the portal. I think he's going to make them a lot better this year. Problem is they have absolutely no depth. He's got a long ways to build that thing, but I do think they're going to be more competitive.
It's a few years away, right? 2 or 3 years away, but and he is a good coach, though.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't want everybody to be good. I'd like to have some easy wins.
So it's Parker Jenkins.
Yeah, Parker Jenkins. Yes, thank you, Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba, thank you very much for that. And guys, I'll tell you what, this the reason we were talking about being excited and everything. I tell you what, we talked about the portal being good. We talked about. I think it's great when the Pirates. I want to get your thoughts, Matt, being a former player, and then if other guys want to chime in. But I actually think it's great that once again, how NC State, the players, coach, and their coach, they're not giving us any kind of chance. They're acting like overlooking us, the fan base. They're automatically thinking of that as a win. That is not an easy game if you're an NC State person. That is not an easy game. So don't overlook that. Hey,
they know it. Deep down, they know it. They know it.
Please
they're overlooking this game. They're a low IQ football team.
I hope.
And,
I hope they do.
Because you like that one, Stevie? Because what'd you say, Stevie?
He said he hopes they do.
I hope they keep that mindset going into the game. I really hope they do. Because let me tell you guys, I got a lot of good kids on my football team. They're NC State fans, and they're in that same mindset. One of them in particular. I was like, so not a rivalry game, huh? No, absolutely not. I'm like, so we beat y'all 11 out of the last 20 games, and you're not considering a rivalry game? No, not at all.
Tell that kid to get some nuts on, get some hair on his nuts before he wants to try to.
And even after we beat them in the bowl game, I'm like, you guys should be like just pumped up for this game. Yeah, it's like just another game. I'm like, okay.
Hey, we have a psychological advantage, though, fellas. Don't forget that. So
you know why? Well, you know why they're saying that, because if it was a quote unquote big game and they get their ass beat again, then but since it's not a big game, it's like they're just downplaying the game when this is a big damn game. I mean, if I had a
big look, it's a rivalry game. They can spin it any way they want. I'll tell you one person that's not spinning it that way. Doran said he wants to beat our ass, so he's embracing it as it depends on the results of the previous game whether Dave Doran thinks it's a rivalry or a big game or not. If he loses, then the next one seems to be important to him. So let's hope this is the last one for him, because if we beat him, it will be.
Yeah, it will be.
Hey, I tell you one thing right now. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, State fans right now that feel like that he's holding them back. And they don't want to. I'm not saying they want to lose East Carolina, but if they, in other words, if they lose to East Carolina because we're the small sister school, blah blah blah.
It's like us with Charlotte last year.
Yeah,
it's not that we should be compared to Charlotte, but it's a game that they do not want to lose twice in a row, and if they do, most likely he'll be gone.
I'll say this, guys. The must-win for me, is Coastal.
I agree. And let's beat State.
1,000%.
If we beat State, then that Coastal game doesn't become a must-win. But if we're 1-1 with BYU coming to town the following week, that Coastal game is an absolute must win. That's why I'm hoping we can make half that stadium purple and gold.
No doubt about it. What was our allotment? How many tickets were in our
I'd never
allotment?
heard an official allotment. My guess would be 3,000 to 4,000.
That's
And we've sold them out. And I know a lot of people like me have been buying them through Coastal, and I would encourage everybody to continue to do that. If you can go to that game, go to that game. I mean, it's it's a 3-hour drive from Greenville. I mean, just go, and let's home field advantage or at least a bowl type situation.
Hey, Bubba's got great.
That
Hey,
horrendous heel field. It's disgusting.
Yeah, the surf turf.
Exactly, Bubba.
it's sold out on July 11th because it doesn't matter. Way,
yeah, no kidding.
yeah, and that's another thing, guys. I wanted to ask you guys too. This one of the additional topics that just came to mind. I'll put it in there. But how do we? This is my thing with all the college landscape, as our previous coach talked about. Do you guys feel like me when I'm a political guy? I'm not going to talk about politics, but as far as East Carolina is concerned, if I am John Gilbert, if I am Philip Rogers, by the way, we've been sending an invitation, so we're trying to work that out. We plan to have Chancellor on very soon. If I'm both those guys, I can tell you right now, I'm going to call every member of the legislators that I can and all the legislators at the legislature at the General Assembly and say, we're going to have a bill and you're going to have to play us because you're not being fair to us. And when Raleigh, you see that for right. If we play at NC State, if you play at Carolina, if you play at Duke, if you play at Wake Forest, which Wake Forest has a home and home with us, they're big time, right? And they scheduled a home and home with us. Everybody can say, oh, but they're small Division I. They still have a reputable football program and they scheduled us. So do we have to go that route? It's something that's been really eating at me. That another thing about administration, not to go after these guys. Go after.
I think the problem is with Charlotte and App both being FBS now. I think the best way to approach that would be the three together. Even though we've been playing FBS much longer than App and Charlotte, but I think the three of us together approaching. You really can't do anything about Wake and Duke; they're not state funded. But I think East Carolina, App, and Charlotte, first, all three of us, well, East Carolina and Charlotte are going to play each other. We're in the same conference. But East Carolina and Charlotte need to both make sure we're scheduling App, so we're practicing what we're preaching.
Right.
And then the three of us together need to go approach legislature to have NC State and UNC rotate on East Carolina, Charlotte, and App State schedule home and home, every other year or so. They should be playing at least one of us, those two, NC State, UNC. And I think collectively ECU, App State, and Charlotte would have more power together doing that. And that's probably the approach we should take with that.
Yeah, that's something that really bothers me, that we should be able to, and I understand to be fair to Gilbert. As a matter of fact, we can get a game with Duke right now, but they're not coming to us. So it's not a matter of the Duke won't play us. The problem is what we've been talking about for.
Well, we're not going to do a bye game with Duke. If they want to play us neutral,
that's what I'm.
If they want to play us in Charlotte, neutral site, I'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you guys think about? There's talk on the chat, by the way, about UNC going to the SEC. Is there anything to do you guys? I don't see that.
I think, and I'm guys. I want to start wrapping it up here soon, but I do think that there's going to be at some point UNC will either go to the Big Ten or the SEC. I do think that'll happen eventually. The ACC and the Big 12 will both lose some more schools, and then we'll see what happens with those two leagues down the road. Will there be a spot for East Carolina that comes up? And
North Carolina and Duke have a pack, though. The North Carolina and Duke, even though they, you're not going to take UNC. I think
right.
If they leave, I think it'll be UNC and Duke to the Big Ten because Matt can tell you.
You can schedule each other non-conference in basketball every year. Money, yeah, you can. Money talks and bullshit walks, and so yeah. If Carolina has the opportunity to go to the SEC or the Big Ten, they're going to go, and I think they'll eventually.
Put tariffs on.
Tariffs.
All right.
Here's one thing I will say about Here's one thing I will say about the ACC situation. A lot of people look at that and say, well, if Carolina leaves, State leaves, Duke leaves, your mama leaves, it may open up a spot for us, and it may. But also, you got to remember, you got Stanford, you got Cal, you got SMU, all in the SEC or it's the ACC right now. So they may backfill with some Pac-12 type schools. They may go for more of a West Coast feel to help those schools out anyway. So anyway, we'll see. There's way too much to be seen. To answer the question, short form, long form, conference realignment's not done.
It's going to be 2029 or 2030. You're going to see the great shift to it's going to go to 60 or 64 teams, and we need to position ourselves appropriately to be in that mix. I think we're there we're going to be there from a facilities, from a stadium standpoint. We're there from facilities. Now that we're going to have the indoor, we're going to be in great shape. What we need to do is win football games. That's where
David Glenn doesn't even think it's going to be that many. DG thinks it's going to be like 40 to 50.
Really?
If it's 40 to 50, I welcome it. Please go. If it's going to be 40 to 50, y'all go, and the rest of us will play college football.
I think it's going to be 60 to 64 ultimately.
I hope not, because if we get left out, then it's going to suck. If it's 40 to 50 and we get left out, who cares?
But here's the thing. Matt makes a great point. I mentioned this, I think, last week or the week before. Cincinnati worked 10 years to get to where they were at the playoffs, and they're talking about facilities, right? So we've got the facilities down. We got the best fan base. We've got like everything going for us. And I truly believe if this was like a tournament, when you're talking about whether we get in or not, as far as a power league, it's going to be where our fan base has to step up more, and our administration has to believe we are a power league school. That's going to be the downfall. And I pray that our administration will embrace the fact that we are more than they say that we are.
The goal needs to be to make the playoffs. If your goal is to make the playoffs, then you are going to present yourself as being on tier with a power, as being a team that should be in a power league. So that's going to be the key. Our goal needs to be to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and by the way, sorry, go ahead, Johnny. I was going to add.
I was just going to say, hey, timing is everything too about when you're ascending, to power. Because Cincinnati, I mean, they hit the jackpot by making the playoffs when they did. Because right now, I think if the Big 12 had it to do over again, they would take Memphis instead of Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati's underwhelming in every sport. They don't win at anything. And I don't see where they're going to improve vastly. I mean, at least Memphis gives you consistent basketball.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with VP saying Americans should add JMU Air Force and 2 basketball schools.
And I don't think the Americans should add anybody right now. I don't. You just split money further. Why do we want to split money further? If there's a way to make more money, yeah. Otherwise, hold pat. And as far as adding Air Force, we would if we could. They're not going to lead the Mountain West right now. They signed a grant of rights deal. But in terms of strengthening, if you want to strengthen basketball, I kind of get that. But also, you just split money further. So I wouldn't add anybody right now.
Question from Roxy is about Media Day. Media Day is on Saturday afternoon. So we'll and yes, we will be there. I wish Matt could be there, but we totally understand that Stevie's working. Stevie, we know that obviously you have to make money, so we totally understand that.
Yeah, there'll be some portion of us there. Hopefully, I will be able to be there. Hopefully, I continue to continue in the right direction on my healing process, and hopefully, I'll be there Saturday. And Dave will be there. Johnny will be there. And I don't know if Landis, Paul. I don't know if either one of them are planning on being there, but we will have. And Jessica, if I'm there, Jessica will be there assisting me. So we should have a nice contingent there.
B-Pays makes a great point. We have to fix basketball to have a chance to move up. I agree 1,000%. I tell you what, guys, I'm a basketball guy. As you know, we're not going to go on the tangent, I promise. But I will say football, baseball. Hey, Kyle, you remember when we started the show and things were so bad with volleyball that they won like 4 games the whole year, and we were like, it was like a big deal that the volleyball team won. I don't know if you remember that several years ago. And now they're making what's the NIT for volleyball. So, and you look at Kim McNeil with women's basketball, the one sport that hasn't really developed like we want it to over the years is basketball. And the crazy thing is basketball can be competitive. I'm not trying to be delusional and say we're going to win big things, but I will say that Pays is right. I agree with you, Pays, because that's the one sport we need to put more money in. That I'm not taking away from the other sports. I'm just simply saying we need some donors and we need different people to come up with whatever it takes to get those guys, those dudes. I've heard that so many times today on NFL coverage. Dudes. I thought it was the Big Lebowski, but anyway, for me, basketball is the missing link. If we get basketball corrected where we're at least a middle of the pack team or the top 3, even, I don't even think you have to win the conference, but we're going to have to do that for sure. And Kenneth has a good point. JMU is a good example of an athletic department that's consistently competitive at everything. We can do that. And how about Liberty? We talked about Liberty as another school that, and everybody can talk about the religious aspect and all the donations, but we have a ton of people. We just have to have people out there that are, I think we've done a great job with raising money for the indoor practice facility, with the baseball expansion, on and on and on. With basketball, we did, we had a program from Windows 95 running our lights, and John Gilbert and them, I have to give them credit. They raised the money. It was like $1 million for that. And also Johnny, those seats, Johnny and I, I know Johnny, you come down to a lot of basketball games, and so the atmosphere is there. We just got to get the dudes. We got to get the players on that court, and you can't just have 1 or 2 guys. You got to have, and you can't be, it seems like with basketball is the ultimate microwave or the ultimate project where we're getting like 7 or 8 new players every year. Wow. It's hard to, you have to take a couple classes to learn the names of the players because they change.
I think the transfer portal is affecting basketball more than any other sport because you lose 2 starters, you're down 40%, coming back. But I think we did a good job this year of keeping, the players that we wanted to keep. And who knows how the new guys are going to pan out. But the rest of the conference, they lost a lot of starters. Every team lost at least 1 starter. So I think we're on the upswing, and I like what Mike's doing. I'm going to give him a chance.
No, I like the coaching is not my thing. I think the coaching has never been our problem for the most part, except for a few hires. But it's the support of the program when Joe Dooley has to buy basketballs for the opposing team and all the stuff that's happened in the past that should have never happened. And it's happened in every athletic director's watch that we've got to put basketball. But anyway, you guys, we've been going at it for a long time. It's almost 10 o'clock at night, 10 Eastern here on Sunday night. Do you guys, by the way, one more thing for me, want to give out some love. I don't know if you guys know, we've been broadcasting for a while on Instagram. So want to let everybody know to definitely, if you have people that love Instagram, we've been broadcasting on that and coming soon to X. Do you guys have anything else before we get out of here?
No, man. Great addition, though, to Instagram. I was really happy to see us live tonight on Instagram. So that's good stuff right there.
Yeah, we're working hard on that. And so we're trying to add as many places as we can, fellas. We're trying to expand. And by the way, Matt and Stevie, I hope that we can get you guys together for a show. I'm going to put it out there, not to put you guys on the spot, but TSO Film Room, guys. I want to see that. I hope we can make that happen. But I know your schedules are tough. But
I love the post game stuff, guys. But I'll just do my final thought is this, guys. Look, keep moving forward every day in camp, but we got to stay healthy. I know that's easier said than done. We already lost one guy, Demarius Hines. I hated to see that.
Yeah.
But my hope is that we have a great camp, but we can stay healthy and just go into that first game at full strength. So, hopefully that's the case.
Matt, was that for the season? I know that you got hurt in the game.
Not sure. They haven't said yet, Dave.
Okay.
I'm hearing mixed things, but I like what I saw out of him. Physical player, so just hope that again that we don't have any more of those injuries.
No doubt bringing back Kyle from LaGrange. Let's see.
Yeah, guys, just wrapping things up here on my end. I got knocked off there. Kind of said everything I wanted to say. The only thing we didn't get to was kickers. Kicker situation, we got a battle. We got 3 guys. Blake talked about how he likes the way we're kicking the ball. The kid that transferred here from he was either Rhode Island or New Hampshire. I can't remember which one right now. He's got the biggest leg. I do think he'll end up winning the competition if everybody's consistent with PATs and short kicks. He has the biggest leg. I think it'll end up being his job.
So let me ask you a question, Gal. Any of those guys, can they kick a 70-yard field goal?
I don't think so, but the kid from I think it was New Hampshire or Rhode Island. Somebody help me out. I think he's by far got the biggest leg.
Yeah. Johnny, do you have any final thoughts, any stats for us before we get out of here?
No, I'm looking forward to talking about the kickers next week because there's some, really interesting dynamics going on there, and it will require too much time. So we'll talk about that.
We'll break it down. We'll start the show next week breaking down.
And I just wanted to say, the same thing that Matt did. I hate the injury. He was Demarius Hines. His high school coach was Coach Rico Zachary. So I know Coach Zachary's, probably very upset about it as well. And maybe on Saturday, if I see him, I'll ask him for an update or something.
Did you see this? Kenny says we're going to be 5-0 going into October. How do you like that?
No, Hubby's right.
Stevie, you got anything?
Yeah, I'm just ready for the season to start, guys. I got my season starting and then ECU shortly after, so hopefully it'll be a good year for both of us.
Are you starting?
Who do y'all open with, Stevie?
Do what?
What do y'all
Who do you open with?
We open with Community Christian the 22nd, so we got 12 days.
By the way, do you know one of you'll? In fact, he said he would come on the show one night with us, but one of my mentors, obviously the Eastern North Carolina School for the Deaf, he retired, but he's still coaching and he's helped out. I think this is maybe the 3rd season. Leonard Baker is there with Community Christian, so good guy. So if you meet him, tell him Dave said hello. We talk all the time, but a really good dude. So. And wish you the best, Stevie, on a great season. You're a great coach, and we appreciate the fact that there at Northeast Academy that you've been. How many years have you been there, Stevie? It's a long time, right?
Altogether, this will be 17.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. All right, well, we'll get out of here. Thank you guys so much. We're going to work really hard on obviously keeping up to date, and thanks to Kyle, Matt. Thank you for the great idea, by the way, to. Just have a roundtable. I think this has been great without a guest. No offense to our guests, but I think it's been great with the fans. And by the way, I'll say one more thing. You know how I know we're getting close to football season? Because the number of viewers has been off the charts. Thank you guys and ladies so much for tuning in tonight. And if you're listening to our podcast, we have that everywhere. And we're going to be, like we talked about for social media, we'll be adding X very, very soon. All right. Until next Sunday night, we appreciate you being on. And if it's Sunday night, it's the Sports Objective, and we'll see you next Sunday night right here. Go Pirates.
Later.
You're watching the Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.